Pengerson applauds President Bola Tinubu's executive orders to make Nigeria a hub for oil and gas investment.
We aim to streamline our operations, maximize productivity and enhance overall performance, which will lead to improved efficiency and effectiveness of our operations.
Electricity tariff, federal government says recent increase to affect less than 2 million customers as NERC fines AEDC 200 million naira for violation of new tariff order.
It is because of government sensitivity to the suffering, to the pains of our people, that will not make us to migrate fully into a cost-reflecting tariff.
Plus, more Nigerians drum support for students' loan scheme. Good evening and welcome to the Network News on the NTA. I'm Olajide Bello. Adiola Komi Akere is in our Lagos studio. And on business, Benny Adams has details on proposal for 40% procurement to be made in Nigeria. Keep in mind that you can follow us live on our website nta.ng/live, NTA News Now on X, as well as all the platforms displayed on the screen. Thanks for joining us. Well, let's start from the State House. President Bola Tinubu this Friday received newly deployed envoys to Nigeria expressing his commitment to enhancing cooperation in the areas of education, mining, culture and tourism. The president received letters of credence from the new High Commissioner of Jamaica, Lincoln Downer, that of Australia, Leilani bin Judah, and Ambassador of Romania, Florence Lappen, at the State House. During separate meetings, President Tinubu assured them of Nigeria's support for a rewarding stay and reaffirmed his government's commitment to maintaining an open-door policy towards strengthening existing economic, cultural and diplomatic relations. To the High Commissioner of Jamaica, President Tinubu emphasized the importance of collaboration on trade, investment and technical aid core. He reiterated Nigeria's readiness to reactivate energy cooperation with Jamaica, particularly in the context of climate change and utilization of gas as a transition fuel. The Jamaican High Commissioner conveyed his Prime Minister's willingness for cooperation between Nigeria and Jamaica in various fields such as energy, trade and investment, as well as culture and tourism. He announced plans for Jamaican business delegation to visit Nigeria later this year and invited Nigerian investors to explore opportunities in Jamaica's special economic zones. During the meeting with the High Commissioner of Australia to Nigeria, President Tinubu expressed appreciation for the long-standing relationship between Nigeria and Australia. He acknowledged the shared values and interests between Nigeria and Australia as active members of the United Nations, the Commonwealth and other multilateral institutions. Australian High Commissioner extended an invitation to President Tinubu to consider visiting Australia during the Commonwealth Head of Government meeting in Samoa. To the Romanian ambassador, President Tinubu assured the ambassador that Nigeria will explore more opportunities for collaboration with the EU member country. The Romanian ambassador expressed his commitment to strengthening ties between Nigeria and Romania, particularly in the education, energy and defense sectors. He announced plans to increase scholarships for prospective Nigerian students interested in studying in Romania. Now to economic transformation, President Bola Tinubu is beaming with the new assurances that with the new economic trajectories, Nigeria is poised to succeed soon enough for ultimate benefits of the citizenry. The president again renewed the hope of Nigerians when he hosted members of the business community in the country to an iftar breaking a fast at the State House. State House correspondent Musbah Denwahab has more.
A seasoned businessman in the midst of familiar faces. Warm pleasantries and mutual respect were in order. Another gathering in the spirit of the season, but the underlying reason is perhaps even greater with the array of captains of the industry under a roof here. These are part of the holders of the economy and big-time employers of labor. And so, beyond the feast, the guests saw the new signs to believe in the genuineness of this man's intention to rebuild the nation's economy.
We know the journey
is not going to be smooth initially, but given the way you're handling it, we know we'll get to the promised land. We love your courage. We love your boldness. We admire your decisiveness. And these are very critical in transforming a business as in transforming a country.
What you've done is to show statesmanship. You are thinking of Nigeria, not of Nigeria of today, but Nigeria also of the future.
Now we have an administration and a presidency that is interested in the opinion of the people that they are there to govern.
But I think what you have done in context of driving reforms, necessary reforms, allowing us to have access to forex and to operate.
We believe in the rightness of
His foot soldiers too also reported on recent policies to further ensure a more conducive business climate.
We are on our way to a plan-based governance led by Mr. President with initiatives designed to quickly and urgently support manufacturing, support agriculture, support mining, support creative arts and economy, blue economy, all those areas where, given the right attention that they are getting now, can absorb hundreds of billions of dollars of investment and support our quest for double-digit growth.
thank you.
But for the captain of the team himself, it is hope unending, imbued with confidence, assuring that Nigeria is already descending the challenging hills of the economy, occasioned by policies for better prosperity.
Nigeria is a self-believer and can always deliver on its own. Whatever, they call us in the past, we know our first name and our last name. Our first name is Spirit, our last name is Kandu.
Banking on the can-do spirit of Nigerians, the president equally expresses belief in the partnership with the private sector to take Nigeria higher.
It's very, very inspiring to move on, cut the cost, twist the bends, summon courage, and behave rightly. Save the money, but push the economy. We will be there. There are some countries that have failed. There are some countries that have succeeded. But in your time, in our time, in my time, all of us must work together to succeed. Thank you very much.
And from the indications emanating from here, this is just the beginning of gathering of this nature to find the right and enduring direction for Nigeria's economic prosperity. From the State House, Musbao and Wahab, NTA News.
And joining us via Zoom tonight is the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, and he will be expatiating on some of the issues raised at the iftar the President had with the business community. You're welcome to the Network News.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me.
Okay, we have seen the State House iftar, which translates breaking of fast in series, with each throwing up issues. But this particular one, with members of the business community, seems to mean a lot with the turnout of captains of industry. What does this really point out for the administration?
Well, first of all, I want to say that of all the breaking of fast ceremonies held by the president with different groups, the one with the business community, members of the business community, was entirely different. It actually became something like a town hall. It was not planned that way, but with the kind of things that the members of that business community were saying, the iftar became something else. And of course, the president who was caught up in that mood, and you see the way he spoke passionately about the economy. For some time, the president has been like an evangelist, preaching about the economy, going places, asking foreigners to bring in their money, that the country is ripe for investment and is profitable for investment. These are the things he has been doing all along. And this is the kind of thing he also stressed on Wednesday night. Was it Wednesday? I think Wednesday night, about the need for Nigerians to even believe in themselves, and that we don't actually need foreigners to come here. We Nigerians, we have the self-belief, we have the spirit, the can-do spirit to take our economy wherever we want to take it to. The president has already said we want to take this economy to a $1 trillion economy. And you can see the way he has been working passionately, improving things on the fiscal side, improving things on the monetary side to make sure we reach that destination. I think that's the import of the kind of meeting he held with the business community. This president has not been afraid to say he has ideas, but he's not afraid to also ask for inputs, especially from people who are outside there, who are in business, and in fact, they form the bedrock anyway of any nation, the business community, both the big ones, both the large ones. There are all kinds of programs that the president has announced to help the business community. Programs for pharmaceutical industry, programs for the medium and small scale industries, and so on. So the business community know that they have a president who will listen to them, who is business friendly, who has ideas, who will empathize with whatever they are doing.
Despite the current challenges in the country, the speakers from the private sector seem at home with the policies of government.
Well, of course, right from day one, when the president announced at the Eagle Square that he was removing subsidy, it was a bold move. And you can see the way it was received, not just in Nigeria, but also globally. The fuel subsidy has been, even though desirable, there's no country where I don't have subsidy. But in our country, the fuel subsidy has become something like an albatross on the economy. It has become a cesspool of corruption. And the president from the one said, look, this thing has to go to make the economy even breathe. And that's what he did from the one. And thereafter he announced there was harmonizing the exchange rate. Don't forget, this country was spending 1.5 billion every month to prop up the naira at the artificial rate then of almost 450 naira to $1, and say no, let the naira float. Let it be a matter of demand and supply. Well, first of all, we had rough patches. The naira went downhill, of course, not just where it should be. We've seen there was a lot of manipulation. There were people who wanted to sabotage the economy, but thank God, things are stabilizing. The exchange rate is now at about less than 1,300 naira to $1. And you've seen also what has happened with the stock exchange. At least under this president, we've seen our stock exchange recording success after success, breaking records after records. And many companies there, even though some have their challenges, many companies reporting profits, bumper profits, and declaring dividends to their stakeholders. I think that's what this government has done. And you can also see that the investment climate keeps improving. The moment with all the measures being taken by the CBN, we can now see more inflow of foreign money, which is also helping to stabilize the exchange rate. So that's what the president is doing. That's why the private sector people are very comfortable with him. They know that he can listen to them, and he has demonstrated that by setting up two committees on the economy, two teams. One which is a task force to implement the ideas of the other one that comprises the subnationals, the members of business community, and some ministers and so on. So this president he means business. And as I keep saying, he has his eyes focused on taking our economy to a $1 trillion economy, because he believes that as we expand our economy, Nigerians are going to get richer and richer and richer. And you can see even tonight, you can see the announcement coming from the villa. The president has announced he's going to, the management team for the student loan, the what they call NELFON, and also announce another person, the CEO of Credit Corp. These are signs that this.
Before you go further, very quickly now, beyond the talks, how is the government going to leverage this goodwill for economic turnaround very quickly?
Come again?
I said before you go further, how is the government going to leverage on this goodwill for economic turnaround very quickly?
Well, as I said, the president has demonstrated that the president, his doors are always open. He likes people to give him advice, and he's a listening president. And I think he welcomes the contributions of the members of the business community to whatever his government wants to do. You can see him, he listens. Just recently, there was this expatriate levy that was launched by him, and some few days after the business community said, Mr. President, this will not work. This will affect the economy. The president said, okay, let's put the policy on hold. So he listened to them, he needs them, and they also need him, because they know that he listens to them, and you come out with programs that will help to improve business, that will help to boost the business in our country.
Many thanks, the special advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, for your thoughts on the network news.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll take a short break now. The news continues shortly. Thanks for being there. And now to the oil and gas sector. The executive order on oil and gas rolled out by President Bola Tinubu will make Nigeria a hub for oil and gas investment. Pengassan President Comrade Festus Osifo, who welcomed the development, however expressed concern about infrastructure deficit in this industry. Lydia Sampson reports.
As key players in the oil and gas sector, the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association, Pengassan, is highlighting industrial concerns sacrosanct to its members. The president, Festus Osifo, told journalists in Abuja that though there are positives recorded in the industry, occasioned by ongoing reforms, the visible negatives, like crude oil theft and pipeline vandalism, cannot be allowed to continue.
This act of sabotage disrupts production and results in revenue losses for government and the oil companies. Addressing these issues require a comprehensive approach that includes improving environmental degradation, investing in social infrastructures, strengthening security measures, promoting local content development, increasing investment in the sector.
Osifo also says Pengassan wants total implementation of the Petroleum Industry Act.
We aim to streamline our operations, maximize productivity and enhance overall performance, which will lead to improved efficiency and effectiveness of our operations.
He's optimistic that empowering media and civil societies, deploying technology and education as powerful tools for tackling corruption must be prioritized. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
And away from the oil and gas sector, President Bola Tinubu appreciates Jim Obaze, former Chief Executive Officer of the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria, for his services as a special investigator of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, and other related entities upon his appointment on July 28, 2023. In a statement, President Tinubu commends Obaze for his dedication and professionalism he exercised in handling the complexities of this critical national assignment. Subsequent to the conclusion of the assignment and the submission of a final comprehensive report, and with the winding up of all apparatus used during the scope of the task, which terminated on March 31, 2024, the investigation is fully closed, with all appropriate law enforcement and regulatory agencies already conducting follow-up action. President Tinubu thanks Obaze for answering the call of duty while wishing him success in his future endeavors. Onto the power sector, federal government says the recent increase in electricity tariff will only affect less than 2 million customers, while more than 10 million customers in the country will continue to enjoy subsidy. Minister of Power Adebayo Adelabu surveys at the ministerial press briefing organized by the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation to highlight efforts of the present administration in various sectors of the economy. Joshua Ojito reports.
It's the fourth edition of the ministerial press briefing, and the focus is on the power sector. The man in the helm of affairs in the power ministry, Adebayo Adelabu, is on ground to inform Nigerians what the present administration is doing to turn around the sector. The recent hike in electricity tariff is of concern to customers, but the power minister allay fears that the increase, which will only affect customers in Band A, is to address challenge of liquidity in the sector and make the sector attractive to investors.
It is because of government sensitivity to the suffering, to the pains of our people, that will not make us to migrate fully into a cost reflecting tariff, or in another language, to remove subsidy 100% in the power sector like it was done in the oil and gas sector.
With a tariff increase of 225 naira kilowatt per hour for Band A customers, electricity subsidy for this year has dropped with more than 1 trillion naira that will be spent on other sectors of the economy.
We're returning trust to public communication, and what does that mean? Whatever we say here are things that you can fact check, things that you can verify, so that at the end of the day, mutual trust that should exist between Nigerians and the leadership at all levels will be maintained.
Other interventions in the sector in less than 1 year of the present administration include signing into law of Electricity Act, memoranda of understanding to accelerate implementation of Siemens projects, and efforts to wrap up generation with Zungeru hydropower plant completed and concessioned to deliver 700 megawatts of electricity to the national grid. The transmission arm, the power minister says, is receiving attention in order to stabilize the grid with acquisition of SCADA system in progress. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company, AEDC, has been fined 200 million naira by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission for failure to comply with the prescribed customer band classifications for the new tariff billing. The decision follows detailed review and customer feedback, which revealed that Abuja Electricity Distribution Company had applied the new tariff to all customers' bands, contrary to the order which was designed to ensure fair billing practices. The Commission directs AEDC to reimburse all customers in bands B, C, D and E respectively that were billed above the allowed customer categories and tariff bands provided in the order. All reimbursements shall be issued to the affected customers by 11th of April 2024, and evidence of compliance with the directives of fine and reimbursement to be filed with the Commission by 12th April 2024. The Commission says it is committed to protecting consumer rights and ensuring equitable practices within Nigeria's electricity sector. It's now time to join Benny for the latest in the business world. Benny?
Thank you and welcome to Business. As the campaign for Produce Niger and Buy Niger intensifies, Senator representing the FCT, Ireti Kinkibe, is advocating amendment of the Procurement Act to include 40% of procurement by MDAs to reflect Made in Nigeria.
The truth is that we do make a lot of things perfectly here. It's just that lots of Nigerians do not patronize them enough, and sometimes people are not even aware. Anything that the government is going to spend its money on, 40% of it should be made in Nigeria. Anything that is made here, government money should not import it.
The Minister of Steel Development, Shuaibu Abubakar Audu, says the ministry is fully committed to turning around the economy through industrialization, and the steel sector is key as envisioned by the President. And to achieve this, the Minister says he is interfacing with the Executive Secretary of the National Steel Council and the Governing Board with setting up of a fact-finding committee to streamline all issues to ensure sectoral sale effectively. Minister Shuaibu, however, advised stakeholders in the steel industry to contribute meaningfully to revamping the industry and not play a divisive role between the ministry and its agencies, as such actions can only take the sector backwards and stall the nation's efforts towards industrialization. And a quick look at the energy market. Oil prices extended gains on Friday as they were causing weekly gains supported by geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, concerns over tightening supply and expectations about demand growth as economies improve. The Brent crude was up 36 cents to $91.01 a barrel, while the U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was at $86.79 a barrel, up 20 cents on Thursday. Both benchmarks settled at their highest level since October. Brent and the WTI are set to notch a more than 4% for the straight week. After the third largest OPEC meeting, producer Iran vowed revenge against Israel for an attack that killed high-ranking Iranian military personnel. And a quick look at the markets. Nigerian equities declined by 0.29% to close at 103,437.67 basis points. Market capitalization also recorded a loss of 155.91 billion naira. The total volume traded advanced by 359.58% to close at 2.24 billion naira, valued at 18.73 billion naira, and traded in 8,527 deals. Abe BDS was the most traded stock by volume with 1.40 billion naira, while Zenith Bank was the most traded stock by value with 3.66 billion naira of units traded. At the close of trading, the market recorded 16 gainers, 30 losers, and 74 equities remained unchanged. Well, that is business news. Network news continues, but after this break, do stay with us.
Many thanks for being there. Now let's head straight back to the State House, where President Bola Tinubu is calling for a more deliberate and genuine commitment towards peace and stability across the country. The president, who is also chairman of the ECOWAS Authority of Heads of State and Government, made the call when he hosted members of the diplomatic corps in Nigeria to an iftar at the State House. Countries of the world are working towards sustainable development, and President Tinubu says this can only be achieved by ensuring peace and stability as a matter of priority.
Let us, in our heart, care for the needy. Care for those who have not. And together, we can promote peace and stability across the world. We can teach the message if we believe in it.
Rest assured, Mr. President, that Nigeria can rely on the international community as a veritable partner in implementing the renewed hope agenda, especially your administration's 4D foreign policy agenda, which will enhance our bilateral and multilateral relations.
The President expressed Nigeria's appreciation to the diplomatic corps members with presidential handshake. The President was earlier at the closing of the year's tafsir at the State House Mosque, where he enjoined Muslims to carry on the teachings of the fasting period even after the month of Ramadan.
It is the end of tafsir. We will continue the teaching of the month of Ramadan. We must continue to be fair to one another. Keep us together. Amen.
Now talking infrastructure development, the third Mainland bridge was constructed 34 years ago to help reduce congestion and relieve traffic. The wears and tears on the bridge prompted the repair works, which is very germane, not only to socio-economic activities of players, but a very crucial safety proactive measure. Larry Belay takes a look on the latest repair work, describing it as a comprehensive rehabilitation of the bridge.
Measuring 11.8 kilometers in length, Third Mainland Bridge is one of the longest bridges in Africa. The importance of the bridge to the nation's economic nerve center cannot be glossed over. A bridge with the highest vehicular movement on a daily basis will definitely need regular maintenance. Recent repairs was in 2006 to 2012 before the Minister of Works under the present administration, David Umahi, upon resumption of office, inspected federal government projects in the geopolitical zones of the country. He embarked on rehabilitating failed portions of the bridge.
260 routes nationwide, 36 at FCT, that is costing about 217 billion.
On January 9 this year, the bridge was closed to the public for 3 months. And in record time, the work was completed and opened for public use.
The asphalt has been replaced with new ones. Rather than patching, they replaced the entire stretch, of the asphalt on the road.
However, according to the Federal Controller of Works in Lagos, there is still finishing touches for the 21.7 billion naira rehabilitation project.
We decided to open to traffic just to minimize or to remove the discomforts that people go through. We know that other works can be going on while the bridge is open to traffic. So what we have outstanding now, as at the moment, is the completion of solar lights. Then the guardrail fixing is ongoing at the moment as we speak.
For commuters, the days of wasted long hours in traffic is over, as they will now go about their economic errands from mainland to the island with less stress. In Lagos, Lanre Hileyi, NTA News.
Now joining us on the news tonight to provide more insights on the latest repair works done on the 3rd Mainland Bridge is the Controller of Works, Lagos, Olukorede Kisha, and she joins us from our Lagos studio. Thanks for coming on the Network News tonight.
And thanks for having me.
All right, from the report, additional facilities will be added to the 3rd Mainland Bridge. 1 or 2 have been mentioned already. What are others and the expected impact?
Firstly, I'd like to give thanks to the federal government for this laudable initiative. Before I go on to your question, I'd like to mention that this present administration has done a lot in the area of provision of public infrastructure, even within this 1 year that they are in office. I'd like to say that since the bridge was constructed about 34 years ago, just like you rightly mentioned, we have not had these comprehensive repairs of this type before. What we do in time past is just patchworks and limited rehabilitation, emergency repairs. That's what we do. But now we have comprehensive repairs, which includes the complete overhauling of the entire bridge deck, the asphalt on the entire bridge deck. And this couldn't have been possible without the full support of the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, in person of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. It couldn't have been possible. And then it couldn't have been possible without a vision and then the hard work of my Honorable Minister, Honorable Senator, His Excellency Dave Umahi. It couldn't have been possible. What was scoped before was limited rehabilitation, emergency repairs. And when he came on board, he said, 3rd Mainland Bridge deserves more than that. That we need to scope fully what that bridge deserves. And the President went all the way to give us the necessary support that we needed to do what we have done. So what we have done now is that we have given that bridge a complete new lease of life. That's what the federal government has done now, this present administration, by completely overhauling all the asphalt overlay on that bridge, the entire 12.4 kilometers. The bridge is actually 12.4 kilometers, including the ramps, and that's what we have done. We have done the complete overlay of the milled asphalt. Then we have done the lane marking of the entire bridge deck, including the ramps. We have done the solar lights, provision of solar lights. That's about 60% completed at the moment. The contractor is working on site assiduously to ensure that in the next few days that is completed. Well, currently we're fixing the missing guardrails. The missing guardrails that are there, currently we're doing that. The old ones, we're painting it and replacing the worn out ones. And then we're fixing stud lights, cat-eye lights that will make the place to be more illuminated during the night. It's when you go to Third Mainland Bridge in the night that you actually appreciate the work we're done. We're currently increasing surveillance, security surveillance on that bridge as well. And then we're not only working on the bridge deck, we are working even currently under the bridge deck. We're strengthening the substructure of the bridge and the under deck of that bridge to ensure that the stability or the structural integrity of that bridge is intact. That's what we're doing now. We're not only doing that on Third Mainland Bridge, the federal government is equally committed and is actually doing it on Qatar Bridge and on Edo Bridge. We're working to on Eco Bridge. So all hands are on deck to ensure that we give Lagos a new lease of life, all the federal infrastructure there. And not only in Lagos, nationwide, this present administration is all out to give Nigerians the necessary infrastructure that we deserve.
Many thanks. You just mentioned that it's not only the Third Mainland Bridge that is receiving attention, that even the Carter Bridge. So aside the Third Mainland Bridge and the Carter Bridge, which other project is receiving attention?
It's receiving attention. Eco Bridge is receiving attention. Lagos Shagam, we're not done with it. We just finished with the bridge deck. There are other appurtenances of that job that we're going to roll out in the next few weeks, like the flyovers, the underpasses at Wawa, Magboro, Arepo, Ankara. We're going to complete that one. Then pedestrian bridges. Then we have interchange to Aloto. So it's receiving attention. In the next few weeks, the contractor will move back to sites to complete that. Then we have the mega project, the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, which is on board. So it's a mega one. The contractor has started. It's the first phase in Lagos that has been awarded now is about 47 kilometers. And the contractor is working at 3 locations already within the 47 kilometers. So at the beginning of the project, which is the end of Ahmadu Bello Way here that is close to us here, the contractor has started. And then by the end of this month, it will deliver the first 1.3 kilometers on rigid pavements.
Many thanks, the Controller of Works, Lagos State, Olukore Education, for your thoughts on the network news. All right, moving on. Adiola is waiting on the wings for more stories from the Lagos axis. Adiola, good evening.
Thank you, Olajide. Popular Nigerian cross-dresser Idris Okun, known as Bobrisky, has been arraigned before the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos for alleged 180.7 million naira money laundering and abuse of 490,000 naira notes at social functions. Dana Ajali has that report.
Justice Abimbola Awogboro of the Federal High Court in Lagos convicted the popular Nigerian cross-dresser Idris Okun, popularly known as Bobrisky, for mutilation of the naira. The court convicted the defendant following his guilty plea to a criminal charge brought against him by the Economic and Financial Crime Commission, EFCC. EFCC had filed a 6-count charge against him, bordering on alleged tampering with naira notes and money laundering. When the case was called, the prosecutor, Mr. Suleiman, informed the court that the defendant elected to plead guilty to the charge after a discussion. Following an oral application by the prosecutor, the court struck out 5 and 6, leaving counts 1 to 4. He, however, pleaded guilty when the remaining counts were read to him.
And by the relevant provisions of Administration of Criminal Justice Act, the court will not impose maximum punishment to her. What is the punishment? 6 months or 50,000 fine, either of the two. And the EFCC, they've considered to fine. And they've even accepted the defendant's request to stop abuse of Naira.
Video clips tendered by EFCC witnesses where the defendant was seen mutilating the Naira notes and where he sprayed 400,000 Naira at a movie premiere were admitted as evidence. But, however, reserved sentence until April 9 and ordered that he be remanded in custody of the EFCC in Lagos. Diana Ajale, NTA News.
The federal government has received 2 additional patrol boats from Spain as part of assets under the country's enforcement patrol. The Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, Dayo Mobiriola, says this will not only enable the country expand its surveillance beyond its exclusive economic zone, but equally assist to build solid investment opportunities. Michael Olaleye reports.
The delivery of these 2 boats brings to 7 the number of such equipments under the enforcement patrol. While this will enable Nigeria to further rule the sea across the Gulf of Guinea, the country's Maritime Administration Agency commended Spain for facilitating the acquisition. A feat which the Director General of NIMASA believes will further enhance the capacity to expand surveillance across the entire West and Central African region, while driving argument for the elimination of war risk insurance premium and reducing cost of freight.
We need a situation where we have to cover all the Nigerian nautical miles so that we know that in our waters we are safe, and any trade activities that is taking place freely. And if there is going to be any illegal trade or whatever, we would be in a position to arrest or to protect and make sure it doesn't happen.
The Spanish government sees Nigeria as an indispensable ally in strengthening cooperation beyond trade, considering its leadership role, adding that the sustained efforts at ending piracy and crime at sea in the Gulf of Guinea is increasing the presence of foreign vessels within the region.
We got the message with the creation of a Maritime and Blue Economy Ministry at the federal government. Those are signs that Nigeria knows that there is a lot of good things to harness from the sea, and we want to be also partners in that process.
This renewed initiative to strengthen maritime security will include fostering partnership with NIMASA and the Navy with the sole aim of fulfilling the mandates of the European Union in the area of coordinated maritime presence in the Gulf of Guinea. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
And those are the stories from Lagos. The network news will continue after this time out with Olajide in Abuja. Please stay.
Glad to know you're still there. President Bola Tinubu has approved the appointment of Engineer Uzoma Nwagba as the Managing Director, Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation, Credit Corp. Prior to his appointment, Engineer Nwagba served as Chief Operating Officer of the Bank of Industry in charge of driving microcredit and other financial interventions at the institution. He had also served as a Senior Investment Associate specializing in financial services at the African Capital Alliance. Similarly, President Bola Tinubu has approved the appointment of 3 prominent Nigerians to serve the management team of the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NELFund. They are Akintunde Sawyer, Managing Director, CEO, Frederick Oluwafemi Akifala, Executive Director, Finance and Administration, and Mustafa Iyal, Executive Director, Operations. The President expects that the necessary apparatus are expeditiously put in place to the effective takeoff of this pivotal fund for the immediate and lasting benefit of Nigerian students and families in all parts of the country. And before we go, let's take a look at the weather prospects for tomorrow.
I'm glad to have you join us on the weather forecast.
This shows the heat index over Nigeria, and Saturday shows strong prospects of heat stress to most parts of the country. So we advise the public to stay well hydrated, reduce strenuous physical activities during the peak heat hours, that is between 12 and 4 p.m. Wear shades and hats when you're outdoors and keep the infants well aerated. Forecast. Saturday is expected to start off with morning thunderstorms to the coastal parts of Lagos State, including Niger, Kwara and Kebbi states, leaving other parts of the south and the north central mostly partly cloudy with sunshine intervals to the northern states. By afternoon and evening hours, there are better prospects of thunderstorms to the southern and the north central region, including parts of Taraba, Kaduna, Zamfara and Kebbi states. Stand by for the air quality and temperature forecast. I am Theodora Iton. Thank you for watching.
News. Many thanks for being a part of it. I am Olajide Bello.